viewers. Welcome back to the Preaching Humanist with Dave and Oliverio. That is I. Today I have a special guest. This is Eric Bunch. Eric, welcome to my show.
Thank you, David.
Eric's a new friend of mine. We met not too long ago at a secular group called Oasis. And Eric went out with me today for his first Ask an Atheist activism, something I've been doing for quite some time. Eric did very good. So I do want to interview Eric, and we're going to discuss his background, his story, how he let go of belief in God, his upbringing, and his deconversion story. So before we get into that, my viewers, I want you to see what we did this morning. I've done this before, and I'll let you see it again. This is the sign, Ask an Atheist, we hold up when we go out. And the other sign is secular humanism, good without God. So we went out this morning and went to a more urban area where there are usually a higher percentage of secular people.
Yeah.
And we had a few people that were believers that came to us as well. So we had a lot of fun. So let's talk about that real quick, Eric, before we get into your interview and your deconversion story. So let's talk about the few believers that came to us. So what would you say, what did we say to the Christian that approached us?
Well, the Christian male that approached us, who we told him that we're just normal people, like every other normal person, because it seemed like he had some, just from his body language and everything, like he was kind of angry that we were maybe there holding up those signs. And so we kind of explained to him that we're just normal people with, beliefs of, goodness for people, and, that we're here to do good, and, that atheists aren't the evil force that people might try to say that we are. Mm-hmm. So, basically on that level, and had a conversation about, some of the things that he told us, some of the things that he believes, and he was a true believer, and she tried to proselytize to us, and so the typical thing.
Yeah, the typical thing. They always have to say the God bless or God still loves you type thing.
Right. They had the people running by saying, "I'll pray for you," and we were much more polite, and we didn't say, "Well, we'll think for you while you're praying for us." So, but anyway,
it was very tempting, though. But we did refrain from that. That one girl that ran by and said, "I'm praying for you." I was so tempted to say, "Well, I'm thinking for you," but there was a time and place for that. But we didn't feel it was that time and place today to do that. So, so Eric, tell us about your background, your upbringing, and I want you to take my viewers through a little journey and how you came to atheism and let go of your former life of believing in God and Christianity.
Well, like everybody, I think, brought up in the Christian, I was brought up as a Baptist, and, just like everybody, it was taught by my family from the time I was very young. My mother was the true believer. My father was just, he never talked about it. My mother did, so we were Baptists. We went to the Baptist church. Baptists, y'all know, we're talking about fire and brimstone Baptist, and my aunt also, who I love dearly, was also there. She was even more so. But, and so that's what I was brought up in. But as I grew up and started to able to think for myself, even as a very young, I'm preteen, I became very interested in, first comic books, and then science fiction, and then science. And I started reading these things, and it just didn't match up. It didn't match up for me, and so, I never said anything, of course. I was just young, and didn't want to stick out, and but then even as I started to become even older, of course, as a teenager, I realized that this is not my beliefs. I don't believe these things that these people are telling me. But again, I did not out myself at the time. It took me a long time to say what I'm saying now, that I am an atheist and that I don't believe in any mysticism. I don't believe in any supernatural anything. I don't believe in ghosts and goblins. I don't believe in Santa Claus, and I don't believe in, Yahweh. But, I just lived a life like, I think a lot of atheists do who are atheists, and they don't feel comfortable coming out because they're afraid of the ostracization and, their friends and family. What are they going to think? I came out fully and completely probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Came out to some of my family members, not my family members who are still the ones that are still very super religious. I'll never be able to convince them of anything, but the ones that I thought were reasonable. And I found out some things about them that I didn't know. Very interesting to find out their beliefs that I thought were, I thought they were true, strong Christians, and found out that they got some questions themselves. So that was very interesting. But I just went through my life basically keeping silent about it. And even went to church, not for myself, but I'd go to church with family who said, hey, let's go for whatever reason, I would go with females, who were churchgoers, who I was interested in. Which is a reason why a lot of Christians go to church anyway.
Yeah, we were talking about that before at the coffee shop, yeah.
So, but, I finally came to the realization that, I came to the realization that, I'm almost half a century old. I am half a century old now. Mm-hmm. But then, and I'm like, I just don't feel like pretending anymore, and I came to the realization, I really started reading more about it, and, with the internet, YouTube, and watching videos, and I found people who I'd never heard of before, the Christopher Hitchens and the Sam Harrises and all these guys, and man, I listened to them, and I'm like, I can't say it as well as they do, but that's what they're saying what I believe, and so I decided then, that I'm not going to walk around, pretending anymore, so.
Beautiful. Tell us about your family's reaction when you told them that you no longer believe in a God. Did they was it a repudiation type thing? Did they threaten to cut you out of their life? Did they continue to love you the same?
They did. And the people that I did tell, like I said, they actually surprised me in that they also expressed some disbelief. And one of those family members was, very big in church and very, and older than I am, I haven't come out to a couple of my family members who are not only very strong in their belief, but they're also super conservative. And I still wonder what's going to happen when I do that. I mean, I don't think that they'll ostracize me, but there's going to be some arguing going on, without a doubt. Obviously I don't expect to change their mind about anything. But so I came out to the family members, I guess, that I felt were more reasonable, whether or not they were they didn't believe what I believe, but I didn't feel like they were going to, kick me out of the family, you know what I mean? And tell me I was going to hell, and they didn't. I've come out to a couple of my friends, who also are, very big Christians. I mean, I've been actually very surprised at the reaction of not a huge, negative overreaction. Okay. So I've been fortunate, that I haven't. I still, I expect it to happen eventually, So I've got some very, very single-minded, narrow-minded, just like in any family, I guess, people, who are super, I say they're super Christian. I think they talk the talk. I don't think they walk the walk. But anyway, I have the feeling that a few of those are either going to want to kick me out of the family or just kick my butt totally.
Yeah. That could be either way on those. Yeah, you don't.
But I don't care. I mean, I maybe not don't care, but c'est la vie. It is what it is.
Good for you. Because not all atheists are at that place. There's so many that I run into that I talk to that really don't even like to use the word atheist because they're afraid of the repercussions or what the family members will say and so forth. And that's why I do what I do, and Eric and others, we go out and try to normalize atheism for those that are afraid to come out, to let people see that we are just as good and moral. Speaking of morality and ethical behavior, which I love to talk about, when we go out and feed homeless people, by the way, viewers, Eric went out with me this morning prior to our activism, and we went out under the bridge to feed homeless people, just like the Atheist Helping the Homeless group and the other groups, we went out this morning to pass out some fruit and water and peanut butter crackers, and with our atheist shirts on too. So, and normally what we get from believers is a reaction of surprise. Why would we be out there? Why are you moral? What makes you moral if you don't believe in a God? And that's the thing that probably ticks me off more than anything else. So talk about your personal journey when you let go of Christianity and God belief into atheism. Talk about your personal ethical behavior and morality. Was it less when you became an atheist, or did it actually increase?
Oh, no, I'm absolutely, I feel like a more moral person. I think my moral compass is much more true and without question. You know what I mean? I feel like I know, and I do know what's good and right and wrong and good for people. You know, as a Christian, even when I was still hanging on to that little bit of, like I said, this stuff is pounded, and we all know it's pounded into your head from the time you're a baby till So it's kind of maybe a little hard to let go of some of those concepts. So this being good for the sake of not going to hell, or being good for the sake of that reward. I let go of that, and since I've let go of that, I'm absolutely, I think I am a better person. I know I'm a better person. I do better things. When I was, pretending to be a Christian, I didn't do things, like I not just today, but I have done, outreach for the homeless on my own with my family, meaning my son, my current wife, my stepsons, my grandson. We've all done it together, and I never did things like that before. I never did. I thought that, maybe, I'll praying about it, that was my good thing. But now I know it's useless. I mean, if you're going to make a change, you got to physically be there. You got to do something.
But it could come from, which I talk about all the time, the Christian spectrum. If you're further on the right or evangelical Christian, like you were in Baptist. I was Pentecostal.
It was fire and brimstone, man.
But the further right you are in evangelical Christianity, and even for that matter, other religions too, they tend to be more concerned with the soul and the immortality and heaven and hell, rather than a more progressive, moderate to left-wing Christian who would be out there doing more social justice and doing things that we try to do as humanists and atheists, right? Trying to just actually meet people's needs.
Right.
So I think maybe the further the right, which you and I were raised in, we tend to be, forget that. That's not that important about helping people to experience equality or feeding hungry homeless people. We would rather get them saved. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. Right. Bring them to God, and that is going to be their savior. That's going to be the thing. They'll have that paradise after this. So if they're destitute in the street, our best way to help them is to bring them to God so they can have that. No, let's do something now.
Absolutely.
Let's do something right now. Let's help that person now. Let's create that equality here, right here on this planet that we live on.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you talk about that, and Christians say that, and we all know they believe that they're the more moral group as opposed to non-believers. I think that's false. I know it's false because they do things for a reward. I'm going to get that heaven, which I wouldn't want to go to anyway in the ways described. But, or I'm afraid that I'm going to go to that hell. That's not why I do things. I do things because it is the morally right thing to do. It's right for people to help people is good. And plus, it's a thing of, what would I want for me? Absolutely. You know what I mean? I mean, God, I hope somebody would reach out to me if I was that bad off, in that bad of a situation. I think that's just a human thing. It's a human interaction that goes beyond any thing supernatural.
And that's more of the reason we need to get out there and talk to people and educate people that continue to hold on to these supernatural spiritual belief systems, all the religions and even New Age spiritualism and so forth, where their empathy and consideration and caring for needy people comes only because of some supernatural deity, where it's good for us to educate people. That's why we tell them. Oh, by the way, we're atheists. When they say, like this morning, we gave bananas and what else we have out there? Bottled water, bananas,
apples,
oranges,
crackers,
peanut butter crackers.
Right.
And
it went quick.
It went quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between the both of us, I know I'd made up 25 care package with all those kind of things in there, and you had at least that much or more, and it was gone in 10 minutes.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So it's definitely needed.
But it's good for people to see that we're doing what they do. And of course, Phil Session and the Atheist Helping the Homeless and the other groups, they do such great work. And then myself and others go out there different days, and we do that for the cause of humanity and with no God. So it's really hard for some people to understand that. Before we close, let's talk about the purpose of activism, and why do you think that we that are atheists should be out there talking to people? Can you give me a couple of reasons why you think it's important for us to go out there and talk and educate believers?
Well, nothing ever changes unless you make it change. Nothing changes sitting on your couch. We can all sit around and say, I believe what he believes. Things should be different. Obviously, secularism. Let's get religion out of government. Let's get religion out of our schools. Let's get religion out of that intrudes upon other people who don't have those same beliefs. But it's never going to happen unless we get out there and talk to people, and make it happen, and let people know on the level that, they have this view of atheists that is incorrect. Well, how else are they going to find out the correct view? We got to get out there and we've got to let them know. We've got to present ourselves as who we are. We're normal people. We're normal, everyday people. I sit here and I say, so I believe my moral compass is truer and better than a Christian moral compass. But it doesn't mean I think I'm better than every individual Christian. There's absolutely great Christians. I know them. I'm family members and friends with them. But I still think my moral compass is better. So you got to get out there. You got to get out there. You got to talk to people. And another, and just to change the view of atheists, one of the other reasons activism for me, I think, is absolutely to get it out of our government. Get religion out of our government. All forms of religion. Let's just get it all out of it. I know that's a big thing. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort. So if we're going to do it, we have to get out there and do it. You can't just talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It takes real love activism, putting that face on that which is being demonized and letting people see. So you went out there. That was your first morning of activism, and what did you think?
It was actually fun. I had a good time doing it. It was fun. It was nice to interact with the people. It was nice to have people come up to us who are also, non-believers. We had a few of those. We had some people with thumbs ups and smiles and stuff. Like we also had a couple that were who were believers who seemed like they were not really impressed with us, But those are the people we really need to reach out to, The people who believe like us, well, they already believe like us, We need to reach out to the people who are, hardcore, not that we're going to change them immediately, but maybe we can start a process, It's not going to be a short-term thing. It's going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
But it's got to start somewhere.
It does. Very good point. It always fascinates me when we're out doing it, doing atheist activism, how there's always a few believers and Christians that admit that they're offended that you and others are out there with our atheist signs and secular humanist signs, and it's okay for them to talk about what they believe and to talk about Jesus and go door to door. But if we stand up and just try to educate people and demand equality and so forth, as a minority, which we are, we just want equality, it's so hard for them to just accept that. Now, that one individual who had the Army T-shirt on today, who was a little ticked at us, he said he was offended.
Right, exactly. And, too bad, so sad. Absolutely. I'm offended maybe by, your group of your church group. I'm offended by Westboro Church. Okay. Who's not offended by that? That's a religious organization, but they get to do what they do, so we also get to do the same thing. It's free speech, our free speech rights don't stop at, when your church organization shows up, doesn't, so, and, I think that's the thing, we've got to have our voices heard too,
Absolutely. Good. All right, Eric, did you want to say anything else to my viewers about anything we discussed today? You want to get anything off your chest? Because you're doing so good.
No,
and you're a natural.
He's
a natural. Look at it.
I'm just glad to be here. It's first time, and it's it's been an experience. It's a very positive experience. I'm glad I did it, and hopefully get to do some more.
Oh, I'll have you back. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, Eric.
You bet.
And viewers, have a wonderful day. And remember, no God is required in one's life to have a good life, a moral life, and a rational life. Have a wonderful day.